Thanks ever so much for coming into the office. You didn't have to do that. I'd have been more than happy to have come to you.
No, thank you.
That's fine. I had to come to the mall anyway, so we thought we'd just pop in and be.
Okay.
That's great.
Perfect. So,
Just thanks for that clip that you sent us.
oh yes,
Where was the
Yes.
video?
you got that YouTube video, yeah.
Good information.
Yeah.
Gave us a good understanding of what your business is about and what you guys offer.
Yeah.
So that definitely made a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's only 2 minutes, but it's better than me talking for half an hour, so that's fine. So I've been busy doing a lot of homework for you, and I'm glad that it took the time just to go and have a look at all of the statistics, because it's actually quite interesting. I don't know if you had a look at some of the sales that were left with you as well. You may have known some of the properties, I don't know, but...
Yeah.
No, we had a good look and we could see some of the properties around us.
Okay.
We could get a good idea.
All right, perfect. So in terms of your timing, I know we had a brief chat about it before, but your goal ideally in terms of moving is...
Yeah, we were looking to sell rather quickly.
Okay.
We probably have about a 3-month time frame, I think.
Yes, I think for us, yeah, in 3 months would be good.
Okay, all right, perfect. So I thought that was the case. There's different marketing strategies, as I mentioned, depending. You know, some people, they say, well, look, if I kind of get an offer in 6 months or a year's time, then there's maybe a strategy for that. There's other people, perhaps like yourself, who turn around and say, well, look, I want to move in a certain time period. It's not a financial pressure or anything like that. But at the end of the day, we've made the decision to move. We want to move. We've got jobs that we've got to go to, you know, what have you. And then there's a different marketing strategy for that. It's trying to get the most amount of buyers to come in the initial marketing period, to be able to see it, to be able to see the value, and to be able to get it sold so we can bring you a suitcase full of cash. That's the plan.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So I'll show you a little bit of statistics on what's happening in the market at the moment, because you probably, I know you sort of bought and sold properties before, but you've probably seen from time to time that the markets do change. Do you have, I mean, when you sort of looked at properties, was there a big difference in what was happening in the prices from where the prices were being marketed at and where they were selling, or? What did you notice?
I think we don't always know what the properties sell for.
Yeah.
We've been going around to show houses and looking in the market,
Yes.
and looking what the properties are on the market for, and that's why
Okay.
we told you we're looking to sell at about 2.5 million.
Yes.
So because we saw quite a few houses in the area that
Yeah.
that are very similar to our home that
Okay.
have been on the market at
Yeah.
about that price.
Great.
And as I mentioned to you, we're looking to net in the region of about 2.2, 2.3 million,
Okay.
so that we can actually move on and buy where we're going to.
All right. Great. Perfect. So this is quite apt, if you like, then, based on what you've been sort of telling us with regard to the statistics. So just to give you a little bit of a guide as to the market stats, the percentage of mandates that sort of sell, so people or agencies who take on properties and they sell, across the board, about half of them will sell.
Really?
There's about 50% on average that will sell in terms of properties that come onto the market. So that surprises some people. Some people think, well, I wouldn't have thought it was that high. Some often say to us, well, I think it's quite low. I don't know what your feelings are on it.
Yeah, I think it's, and I would have thought it's a sort of a low figure.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah, absolutely. So we categorize that quite carefully, and I'll tell you why just in a minute. What is quite interesting is we look at the average percentage of drop in price as well. So this is agency's last list price to what it actually sells for. And in this case, a drop of 7.5% is the market average. So obviously if a property is on for, say, 2 million, for example, it will normally sell for within sort of 150,000 rand of that. So some people often think, well, I have to list my price or my house at 20% more because somebody's going to offer me 20% less on my house. But the statistics are showing at the moment that actually that's not the case.
Okay.
So I don't know how you felt about that, whether you feel as though maybe there is a big drop in price in the market from when you were looking, or?
We were talking and we thought that there was probably about a 10% drop.
Okay.
But you did say that the market has been challenging recently.
Yes.
So could that be part of it? Why it's not so much, not only like a 7.5%?
Yeah, well, it's quite interesting because what it shows is it shows two things. It shows that if the houses are priced properly, then there's not necessarily a huge drop in price. So people these days, they're buying based on obviously a lot of what they see on the internet. So they're doing their comparisons. If they come and have a look at the property, and they might have the statistics show at the moment that on average they're looking at about 16 homes. They'll have a look at those 16, they'll think this one offers good value, and they might try a bit lower, but then they'll come up to pretty much within 7.5% on average because they know what the other competition is. But it also tells us, and this is probably more interesting, that a lot of the people aren't looking at homes that are more than 7.5% over market value. So if a home, for example, is worth 2 million, they'll probably have a look if it's listed at 2.15, 2.175. They'll probably go and have a look at the home statistically. But if the house is listed for 2.3 or 2.295, the chances are that they might not actually come and have a look at your home. So what will happen is the next price bracket of buyers will be coming through, and then they'll go and buy a house that's maybe offers an additional bedroom, more of a view, or whatever it might be, rather than making a lower offer on the home that's actually worth 2 million. And that's why it's so important we do our homework, because if we price ourselves over what we call the selling zone, we just attract the wrong kind of buyers. And you've probably seen it yourself when you've done your research. There's some homes that are on the market for a year, 2 years, 2.5 years.
That's true. We have seen quite a few homes still showing on marketing that they have been here for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the price is still the same.
Yeah. So we get it a lot where people say to us, they call us and they say, Michael, you know, my house has been on the market for 18 months. I haven't had a single offer on it. Nobody's even offered me 1,000 Rand for my house. Not that I would take it, but nobody's even made me an offer of that. Why is that? And generally speaking, there's only two reasons why a property won't sell. It's either the marketing, or if the marketing is great and maybe their price is 10 or 11 or 12% over market value, people are coming through the door, but because of this statistic, they're not buying. So the average days on the market across the board, 130 days.
What is this 2.1?
I'll show you that now. So what this is here, this column here, is based on certain strategies that we try and implement. Our statistics are actually a bit different to the market averages. And they can play a massive, massive difference in what you end up netting in your pocket. So that's why we look to see, are our strategies against the average in the market, are they working or aren't they? Because if we do all these strategies, it doesn't make any difference to the seller, well, there's no point. So I'll show you that now.
Okay.
So the average on the market is 130 days.
Wow.
So you're looking at just over 4 months is the market average.
And also in our price bracket.
Also in your price bracket, yes. So obviously you're saying to me that you want to ideally move in or get the property sold within 90 days.
Yeah.
Don't panic about that figure.
Yes.
I've got a strategy to work for that. And the market average is a quarter, 25% of the agencies that have a mandate on a property sell it to their own buyer. Okay, so that's the statistics. So now, looking at our statistics, the percentage of sole mandates sold, 93%. Market average is 50.
That's for your office?
That's for our office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The average percentage drop in price is 2.1%. And that is why I said to you yesterday, I said, let me just do my homework first, because if we can get you within 2.1% of asking price, as opposed to an average of 7.5%, that is obviously more than 5% difference, which in terms of your selling price is going to make a big difference to what you actually net. That's why I just wanted to do my homework first. The percentage of sales at full asking price, which obviously affects that average, is 42% of ones that we take on sell at full asking price. Now, the reason for that, and I'll show you this as we go through the marketing, is that rather than just trying to get one buyer for your house, I want to try and get maybe 4 or 5 buyers that start competing with one another. I know you mentioned to me that on the house that you bought, there was another buyer that was interested. So did that make a difference as to what you offered on the house?
Kind of, but yeah, it feels also just putting us in the right price range with our house. So we also feeling that the pricing should be relative to what we're buying and what we're selling for. But our offer was high enough that the seller accepted. So we had to go close to his price.
Yeah, that's it. So if you're the only buyer, well, you can maybe trial offer. If you've got 2 or 3 competing offers, then you know that you've got to kind of up your game as a buyer and put in your very, very best offer. So that's one of the strategies that I've looked at, is how can we get you a 42% chance of getting your home sold at full asking price? How can we give you a 93% chance of getting your home sold? And how can we make sure that obviously you sell it for as close to asking price as possible? Now, one of the ways that we do that, and this is probably one of the key factors here, is that the percentage sold to our own buyers is 81%. Now, you might think, well, it would be nice if maybe, all the agencies in town can kind of bring buyers and all the rest of it. The issue with it is that an agency who brings a buyer to your home is obviously working for the buyer. So their job for their buyer might be their friend or their relative or an acquaintance or a colleague. They say to them, look, I'll try and get you this for the best price that I possibly can. So what our strategy is that when we take on a house, we will market it to every single person that's out there, whether they look at press marketing, whether they look on the internet, whether they look on social media. So we'll gain all of those buyers, and then we get those buyers to work purely through us. And obviously, if you decided, Michael, I want you to list the house, you're saying to me, okay, I'm employing you to kind of get my house sold. So rather than working for the buyer to get them the lowest price, I'm now working for you to get you the best price for your house. So if I sell it to a buyer that comes from our marketing, then obviously what that does is it gets you a higher price for your home, because I'm not now trying to be an agent that knocks you down on price. So that's one of the strategies that affects all of these kind of figures.